Mike, have you heard about this owl?
What owl?
So apparently, there's
What
some
what the
owl.
fuck is an owl gonna do, Jared?
Well, they come out at night. Shit, maybe it'll confuse them with the
With
eclipse
the
happening.
eclipse? Maybe.
Yeah.
Tell me about these owls. What's
So
going on?
no, there was an owl in New York that escaped from the Central Park Zoo. His name was Flacco, like Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco escaped from the zoo.
Yeah. So it died. It escaped from the zoo, but it died flying into a building. But when they found this thing, it had four different rat poisons in it and a severe case of pigeon herpes.
Tell it right podcast.
All right, there it goes. There it goes.
Oh,
All right, everybody. Welcome to episode 70 of Tell It Right podcast. I'm Mike. This is Jared. How you doing, Jared?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Welcome back for another episode.
Yes, welcome. Welcome. Everybody's always welcome on the Tell It Right podcast.
Yeah, we really would like to get some guests coming on here.
Who would you want to talk to? Like, if you could interview anybody.
Oh man, I was just thinking about this. I think I would have a fun time with Bert Kreischer. I think he would laugh at everything I say, but that's just like I think he just laughs at anything in general, but it would make me feel good. You know.
I have a love-hate with that guy. Like,
Yeah.
I like him. He's kind of real. He's like a real guy. You know what I mean? As far as a
Yeah.
comedian goes. But at the same
Like
time,
a Bill Burr, would you agree with that? Like Bill Burr?
I like Bill Burr just because he's just pessimistic, and that kind of feeds into myself. But no, Bert is kind of, how would I put it? Like,
Cool.
he tries to be extreme, but that's just him. But I don't really care for like he always has to be drinking all the time, or kind of partying, and
Like an extreme
like,
fat guy that's a little too much for you.
Yeah, I just he seems like he peer pressures people a lot, and I mean, just from listening to the stories of some of the other comedians and whatnot, especially like I guess Tom Segura is like his best friend, or I don't know. That's the way that
Yeah,
they
right.
Um,
Yeah. Who would you interview?
I would prefer Tom Segura, but I don't know. Like, like comedian wise, who would I interview? Jeez. I think I'd probably be able to relate a lot more with Andrew Santino because he's from the area.
Yeah.
And so that would probably keep things, it would probably end up just being more reminiscent, in that type of aspect. I think it would be hilarious to interview Theo Von because he's just so out there. Like,
I just would leave the conversation though, like, was he for real?
Yeah,
or, or was that just the whole fucking? Because that's what everybody says. They have no idea. Like, he's been doing this for years. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows if he's telling the truth or if it's a bit. Yeah. That's kind of like scary. But yeah, like, it would be like that one would be so eye opening. Like you would just be like in jaw dropping. You'd be like, what? What did you just fucking say?
But I feel like I could feed off of his craziness too. And just
man, I pooped my pants and my dad made me fucking eat that shit right in front of him at the dinner table. Like,
right.
Like what?
Like wait a second, huh?
Yeah, like your dad made you fucking wrap a snake around your neck and then run around naked down the block? That's fucked up, dude.
I think, well, my favorite thing that he's ever said was, he's like, yeah, we had a deaf kid in the neighborhood get beat up for doing bad magic. He's doing those hand things, and the kids in the neighborhood thought he was trying to do magic, and nothing ever happened, but he was just trying to do sign language. I'm like, Is he for real? I mean, it could be, but I don't know. Just that off the
Yeah.
wall shit. So that would be fun. One. I don't know. I think Andrew Santino would be funny, but again, more reminiscent and straight to the point. But I
But
don't
now
know.
that you bring that up, there would be one person I think, we talk a lot about him, and is Dan Harmon. I'd like to get
Yeah.
in that guy's head. Like I like he- I just love Rick and Morty. I love
Hmm.
Community. I like it's really like the only two things he's done. I mean, I actually never seen that other cartoon he's made.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like the way that everything delivers in those two shows is just it's fucking like it's real. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
like they hit so many points, and you're just like, damn. I don't
I
know.
I think the problem with him would be his mind is crazy. Just
Yeah,
making up all these stories. Like he's a good writer. I don't think him as he's not like a comedian. So like interviewing him, I don't know if it would be if he could be as off the cuff as a comedian would be with jokes and things. You know what I mean? Like he
yeah.
can come up with some crazy ass shit, but I don't know if like that's gonna happen right then and there, or if it's just gonna be a boring ass interview.
I like his use of interdimensional like ideas, and
Yeah.
this is where I'll end it with. Is when you watch that last season. I'm not going to get into Rick and Morty because like that's all that
Mhm.
is. But in Community, he did it a few times. In the last episode, right at the very end, like he always does one of these cutaway things, like after the credits roll,
Yeah.
and then like another clip plays. So this clip plays at the end, and it's like a family board game, and it's called Community, and they're all playing it and stuff, and they're kind of going through like the past 7 years of Community, all within this like 30-second commercial they made, and at the end, the kid pulls up a fucking like little mini script of Community, and he goes, I forget what he said, but he ends up winning the game, and he's like, "Ha ha, I win!" And all of a sudden, the dad takes the little script and he starts reading it, and he's like, "You're so stupid." He's like, "We're just we're just we're just part of a commercial. We're not even real, man. Like this all ends after this script or whatever." And then like the whole family just sits there in like quietness and depressed and like and whatnot. But I thought like he does shit like that all the time where it like breaks the fourth wall in a way, you
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah.
but yeah,
Those would be some interesting people.
it would be. It would
So,
be.
you just got back from Sedona, Arizona.
Oh yeah. Oh
How'd
yeah,
that
baby.
go? How'd that go?
Dude, so it was great vacation. It was nice and relaxing, but there was some fucking weird shit that happened on the way. That was pretty funny. So we're out
Foretell.
of yeah, so we're out of Chicago, right? And so
Hmm.
we went to Midway and we were flying Southwest. Me and my wife were sitting in the terminal waiting for to board, or just waiting for us to call up to be boarded, and I just see this dude in a sleeveless tank top, fucking jacked, like big ass chest, bald head. He's wearing fucking shorts,
Hmm.
and I thought he was like, and he's got like earbuds in, and he's just pacing back and forth, and I thought he was like working out. This guy looked like he was at the airport, just like fucking like doing reps, just wherever he could. Like
Just repping it
he's
up.
walking back and forth, and he's just like shaking his arms, like loosening up, and I'm like to my wife, I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing right now? I'm like, is this his gym? Like, does the FAA give him clearance to just fucking work out here or something? It's like, I'm like, where's the bench press at? Like, what? Is he
Maybe
fucking
he's one
doing
of
pull
those.
ups?
What do you call them? The marshals, but he's just in the.
He's the most obvious sky marshal ever out there.
Well, I mean, it's like one of those. There's the undercover sky marshals, and then there's like the intimidation
Yeah.
factor of, hey, maybe I won't do this because there's this fucking jack dude. like
Yeah.
running around the
Well,
terminal.
I kind of thought he was like concerning. I almost wanted to be like, hey, TSA, like, is this guy a threat? Like, what's he doing right now? Like, I just imagined somebody in TSA was watching him, like, in the camera, like, what the fuck is this guy doing? They're just probably like laughing, like, this guy is a weirdo. He just keeps walking back and forth. And
Yeah.
then, like, someone probably in the background's like, should we, like, do something? Like, talk to him? Nah, fuck it. He's not. He's doing nothing right now. He just looks like he's about to murder somebody. He hasn't actually murdered somebody yet. So it's
Just meatheading it up. Just being
yeah.
such a
So
meathead.
so then there was that, and then we get on the plane, right? And it was nice because it wasn't a packed plane. It was like 75% full, so everybody pretty much had a third seat to themselves. So me and my wife had our own, we didn't have anybody in between us or anything like that. And no, I did not have panic attacks this time. We avoided that. Sat in the aisle. Felt like I had more space,
Did you
Crisis.
sit near the door, the fake door that blows open?
Yeah, to get over my fear, yeah. I made my wife sit at the window right there.
I gotcha. So
Yeah,
she gets
no.
sucked out if it depressurizes.
Right. No, they're like, nah, no. That I actually looked into that. I was kind of like, what planes are like that?
The 737s, I think, Boeing's.
No, it's the other one. Whatever Southwest buys, it's not that one.
They have Boeing's though.
Yeah, they're Boeing's, but it's not that one with the door.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
they got like a slightly smaller plane.
gotcha.
So the lady, they're all doing their like flight check things, right? And the one lady's like right next to me and Jackie, and she tells me to like look at my thing, while she's like throwing her hands up, and she like takes a moment, she taps on my safety manual. She's like, read it, and I'm like, this is weird. I didn't I didn't know like we had to pull these out. I mean, I know they ask us to, but
Yeah.
So I pull it out and I'm looking at it, and then she goes, Chuck Norris is in this. And I'm like, what?
What?
You know what? And I forgot to upload my pictures to my computer, so I'll post this like on the website. But so I'm looking at it and I don't fucking see him. And so I start putting the thing away. She goes, did you find him? I'm like, no, are you being for real about this? And she's like, what, do you think I lied? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, maybe you just wanted me to read the damn manual. I'm like, I don't know. She's like, no, open it back up. She points it out. There is a redheaded guy with a red shirt running between like people getting off the plane and shit. And it's Chuck Norris with a fucking red beard.
Chuck Norris?
For
Like,
reals. I'll send it to you right now,
I
actually.
gotta see this.
But yeah, so Chuck Norris, if you're flying Southwest, check out the manual. Yeah, here we go.
I'm gonna be flying next month, so I'm gonna have to check this out.
Yeah. You know what? So I asked if I could take it, and she said, yeah, I could. She had extras. It wasn't a big deal.
It's
but
like a cartoon Chuck Norris.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
All right. Did you pull up the picture?
Yeah, I see it.
All right. You see him running with the lady in the blue shirt away from the slide? Yeah. So I'm like, is that for real Chuck Norris? She's like, yeah, it's an Easter egg we put in there.
But why would Chuck Norris be running away from a plane if he would be landing the plane? You know what I mean?
I should have said that too. I'm like, well, you know what? Put a little hole in your or a little flaw in your theory there.
Right.
Chuck Norris would have landed that plane. Nobody would have had to use the slide. And then she would have rebutted, he did land the plane and everybody's getting off right now. He's just running to make sure everybody's all right. So,
yeah.
All right, so we get into Phoenix. All right, Sky Harbor's massive place. They got a tram now. I'm super happy about that. You don't have to ride the bus to the rental car place.
Yeah.
But we get the rental car, and so we're driving through. So right around that airport, it can be a pretty bad area.
Okay.
because we did stay at a place, and I went into a gas station, and they're like everybody in there was a meth head. They had meth faces. They all had DS faces from
please,
meth.
please do tell what is a meth face?
It's like it looks like you have Down syndrome and you have a bunch of freckles and like blisters popping off your face and stuff, and like you look like your face is melting off. Is what it is from doing all the meth.
Okay.
Even the lady behind the counter. Well, the lady behind I think that like the place just got robbed when I walked in. Everybody's standing around. Lady behind the counter's crying her eyes out. Maybe they were being robbed and they just saw me and I walked out and they were like, "Fuck it, let them go," But I don't know. Like they also seemed like they were trying to console her, and she was just like so,
distraught.
Yeah, it was wild. But that was years ago. So,
but here, wait, just one thing to
yeah.
consider. What if everybody's face looks like it's melting off because they live in Arizona and it's just fucking hot?
Well, it
Maybe
could be
everybody
that
looks like they have meth face because their skin is so sun dried like a raisin that we're just not used to that because we have disgustingly white skin from the Midwest.
I don't know,
but it's healthy.
I don't know, but yeah, that was years ago. That I forget. That was like the east side of town, and so we didn't stay there. We stayed more towards like the. Or no, maybe we did stay on the east side of town. We stayed more towards like the college area over there. So
yeah.
Anyways, we're going, and Jackie just points out, "Hey, look, there's a midget on a scooter right there." Dude, midget on a scooter just like going to town on the streets and just literally going off in the wild yonder of Phoenix there. I'm like, holy crap. And then, so we see the midget. I'm like, that's awesome. I found Chuck Norris is in the manual. Dudes are jacked up at the airport. I mean, how else can this trip get better, right? Mm-hmm. We see like this car that looks like Ecto 1 in a way. It has like these weird, I thought it was like a storm chaser.
Yeah.
And so we kind of didn't like care about it. We just thought it was a one-off thing. The next day we're driving around Phoenix and there's like a million of these everywhere. Yeah. And it says Waymo on there. We look it up. It is an AI self-driving car service. You can call this thing, pick you up, and it will take you anywhere you want in Phoenix. I'm just like, ugh, that's so crazy and weird. And I'm like, just cameras everywhere. Like, what if I hit it? It's just definitely going to be my fault at the end of the day. Yeah. So, yeah, AI self-driving cars. Phoenix was pretty wild. And then we get to Sedona. Sedona was great. But then a snowstorm came through. Not like a snowstorm that cripples the town or anything. It was like your snow is lightly covered. The snow melts right away. But the mountains held it on, so that looked kind of cool. But because of that kind of put the UFO tour at a bust.
Yeah.
So, we kind of mainly just stayed around Sedona. We got a massage one day, and then, pretty much we did a lot of walking around in the town. But made ourselves our way to Jerome, a ghost town. Mm-hmm. And Jerome's actually pretty cool. So it is an old ghost town. We found out that Maynard Keenan from Tool, lives there now and has a winery and is kind of helping to rebirth this town. But it's a fucked up town. So back in the 1800s, this was the Wild West. This place, this is the most uncivilized place you've ever been on Earth. It was just brothels beyond brothels and saloons, and they didn't really have anything else. There's probably one hardware store.
I mean, what else do you need, though?
Yeah. But, with that, so you would mine all day. Your life expectancy was already cut in half, right? And then you just get piss fucking drunk every night. And then eventually you either die of, whatever you're breathing in the mine or probably get shot. Yeah. And so apparently a lot of people died This was a town that had 15,000 people back in the 1800s. It was a pretty
That's
booming
pretty big.
town.
Yeah.
And like every so many years, once it like peaked, they had to keep putting X's on the population and keep writing the new population. Eventually, that there were so many X's. The last one was 300.
Jesus.
Yeah. So like it went from boom town to fucking ghost town within like probably 50, 60 years.
But I mean, that's not uncommon for like gold mining towns, stuff
Right.
like that.
But that's what would happen. There was no other business besides that. That's what, that's
Yeah.
why saloons were making so much money and all that crap. And then
Yeah.
once those guys weren't bringing money in, it was goodbye. Got to go
Yeah.
somewhere else, make more money. But back to the people dying. So many people would die. They didn't know what to do with the bodies, so they cremated them.
Hmm.
And then they took that ash and used it into concrete. So that city, there's a lot of parts of it, a lot of the old stuff that was made out of concrete is made out of dead bodies.
It's fucked up.
It is fucked up, dude. When I was there though, I didn't feel like it was haunted or anything. It
Yeah.
was kind of like, that's weird, stepping on dead people, even
Yeah.
though they're ashed down. But like that, like really seemed really Hitlerish to me. I don't know why. I'm like, we did this in the United States. What? Like,
Yeah,
arguably, it wasn't a state at the time; it was a territory. So like maybe that saves the United States reputation there, but I don't know.
it's messed up.
But no, the final night, dude, we met this Vietnam vet who had a camera, and he just started sharing all this information.
Mm.
So I felt like an idiot. For whatever reason, I thought Blackhawks were thrown. I thought like Blackhawks were the helicopter that were able to that have always been used for transport, like since Vietnam.
Yeah.
I didn't know the Dewey. When I would think of a Dewey, I was thinking of a Huey. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? The Huey's the attack chopper, like the
Mhm.
bulby looking one. Kind
Yeah.
of similar to the MASH one, but like much cooler nowadays.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was thinking that's what I always thought a Dewey was. I didn't realize a Dewey was similar to a Blackhawk. It was, in a way, doesn't it have like the ability to transport people and all that?
Is it a Dewey or a Huey?
Which one's No, it's a Dewey. The Dewey is the one that looks similar to the Blackhawk.
I don't know about this.
I mean, you would know. This is where you
got.
gotta. This is where you gotta. This is where you gotta fact check. You gotta be Snopes right now.
Yeah, I think it's a Huey helicopter. Is what that was the most prominent helicopter in Vietnam was the Huey, like Huey Lewis, and the
Huey
news.
Lewis in the news. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Again, I have it backwards. Okay. Whatever. I had him backwards, and I thought, what? I thought this was the Blackhawk. I'm an idiot. But so he's like, hell no, they didn't. He's like, I'm 80 years old, man. I flew Huey, or what do we call? Yeah, Hueys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't want to like disrespect the guy or anything. I'm glad I didn't because I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. So yeah, he was just telling me like, it seemed like he was like, you could tell in his eyes like they did some fucked up shit.
Mhm.
He's like, I've been shot at, all this crap, and he's like, we would just grab the guys, drop some smoke, pull away, and then he's like, the Vipers would come in behind us and just light the fuckers up.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, But then he started talking about his PTSD, and he's like, I always thought that was a bunch of hooey when I got out, and then he's like, then it took my wife to really talk me into trying to get some help for it because I was a fucking dick, And so he said, he's like, at first, yeah, they just put me on some medicine and then just kept giving me more medicine and like, oh, you're doing fine. And he's like, it really wasn't helping me, And then he said there was this program. It was like, He called it the Better Life program or something. But he said they fucking bought him a camera. They just asked him, "What do you want to do? You know,
Mhm.
if you wanted to spend your time doing something, what would you want to do?" And he's like, "Well, I kind of like taking pictures." He's like, "I got this old camera, you know. I always like taking pictures." And so they gave him a form to fill out, and then like some kind of representative at the VA came up to him and was like, "All right, you want to get a camera? Let's go down the street and buy one." He's like, "You got up to $1,500." So he did. He got his first digital camera that way, and he's
Mhm.
been doing photos ever since. Seems like he's living the fucking dream, you know. But
Interesting.
I thought it was interesting that he said that he's like, I know the VA has a bad rep, but he's like, a lot of people don't know is he's like, you don't have to go to the VA to get their support. He's like, you just have to go to doctors that have they're like try something certified. And so I
Mhm.
guess at the end of the day, like if you want to use your VA benefits, you can go to any of these doctors, and they're just like you're in you could go to it if you're not in the military, right? Like if you just have insurance.
Mhm.
Same like private type of doctor, but they work with the VA. So they'll file all the paperwork and they'll get their money from the government while you'll just go in like it was any private insurance or whatever. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So I thought that was interesting. But then it just like makes me wonder why does everybody go to the VA then? Well, not everybody obviously does, but like,
Yeah.
why do those people that go there? Is it simply because they don't have cars? Don't have abilities to get to these doctors? 'Cause I don't think I didn't like ask him either, but I don't know if there was like a copay or anything.
Oh,
You know?
maybe he's because he's got like also what's it called, Medicare too, because that probably pays for some shit. 'Cause I mean, if
Yeah,
you're over 65 or whatever it is, but
yeah, but
overall, did you have a good time? I mean,
yeah,
do you like going to Sedona?
yeah, it was a good time.
I'd consider it, but I think there's a lot of other places I'd probably rather go.
Yeah, another time we'll get into some more deeps of Sedona and
Why Sedona?
yeah, why Sedona. But for today, we got other shit to talk about.
So how about that Eclipse?
Fuck yeah, dude! I got my glasses today.
Did you?
Yeah,
Are they those like shitty ones that look like the 3D glasses
absolutely,
that they?
absolutely.
I wonder how many of those are scams that are like made by some Chinese company, and how many people are going to go blind tomorrow.
Right? No, maybe they're American made actually. Maybe for like something like this, there's rules on it.
Who knows?
I know my neighbor one year or for the last one, they got like film or something, like
Mm-hmm.
film paper. I don't know, made their own. And like, I'm gonna
That
have
sounds like
blind
some
neighbors
crack
after today.
crackhead shit right there.
Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna make my own glasses to watch
yeah,
this.
that's I was kind of like, cool. I will not partake.
Well, I mean, I don't think that we're even gonna get a full eclipse here.
We didn't last time either where we're located. So being in Chicago, what we'll see a dimming.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think yeah, and I think if you're looking at it, it won't completely. You won't see a complete penumbra or whatever they call it. Um, Now, yeah, of course, if you're in Southern Illinois, so pretty much if you're lined up with Carbondale on like a 45-degree angle, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
you're pretty much in the path of totality.
Yeah.
Now, I did hear on TikTok that, so I'm looking at this map right now and it says Effingham, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
They're like on the cusp of the path of total totality, and apparently they actually did a recalculation, and it's about like a couple miles shorter. So now only half of the town of Effingham is expected to go completely totality, and the other half is. I mean, it's probably still gonna feel like it anyway. It's so damn
Yeah.
close. I don't know. I just know last time it like my sky got a little green, not green, but like grayish, like tan, almost like there was like a sandstorm or something. I
Yeah.
don't know how to explain it. It wasn't like it was cloudy, but it wasn't like it was like a weird sunny. It was like definitely like something was covering the sun.
A weird sunny.
It was a weird sunny.
Yeah, I can see that.
So let's see. What time is this going to be tomorrow? So they say about 1:27 p.m. Central Time. It's going to hit the United States. So that's Texas. Thank God they're on Central Time because I did not want to do math.
Yeah.
But they're
So
fucking me over.
127.
Yeah, now they're fucking us over with Maine time, with Eastern time here. So 3:35 Eastern time. So 2:35. I just don't know exactly. Oh, here we go. 2:07. So at 2:07 tomorrow here in Illinois, we should be getting some weird sun dimming.
The dimming.
The dimming. Are you here for the dimming? Are you here for the feeding?
I'm here for the gangbang.
I love that.
The feeding.
Just like a random weird ass dude at your door. I'm here for the gangbang. I would probably scream if I opened my door and that happened. I'd be like, I don't even know what I would do. I would just scream. I'd probably scream and cry. I would scream
Yeah.
and fall to my knees and cry. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, if you're not doing anything tomorrow at about 2:00 in Illinois here, go step outside. Do not look directly at the sun. You will go blind. I promise you. You will go blind.
I wonder how many people are going to. Like, what percentage do you think are going to have this?
You know what I think's more important? How many people are going to be perineum sunning tomorrow?
Well, you
Sun
wouldn't
in that
really get that
beehole.
much. I mean, that's just going to be a
No,
different type of
that's the ultimate. I
the
mean,
ultimate sunning.
yeah. That's like even though like it's blocking the sun, all that light on the rim, on the rim. It's when your beehole is finally aligned with the sun is what that is. Think about it. When the moon covers the sun, it's like a hole now. You know what I mean? It's like you reach in that hole, you grab what comes out. But but then on the rim is like the wrinkles coming
Yeah.
out of your beehole there.
Yeah. The chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water.
That's right. I mean, the ancient people, this is what they thought.
Yeah, maybe the world will end or something. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Mike, have you heard about this owl?
What owl?
So apparently, there's
What
some
what the
owl.
fuck is an owl gonna do, Jared?
Well, they come out at night. Shit. Maybe it'll confuse them with the eclipse.
With the
happening.
eclipse? Maybe.
Yeah.
So tell me about these owls. What's
So
going on?
no, there was an owl in New York that escaped from the Central Park Zoo. His name was Flacco, like Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco escaped from the zoo.
Yeah. So it died. It escaped from the zoo, but it died flying into a building. But when they found this thing, it had 4 different rat poisons in it and a severe case of pigeon herpes.
What? How does an
Yeah.
owl get fucking herpes? From, I guess,
I don't
fucking around. You said it was pigeon herpes?
know. That's what they said. It was pigeon herpes. I don't know how you get pigeon herpes.
I hope we can't get pigeon herpes. That sounds terrible. I mean, like, that sounds like made up, too. I mean, I just typed in pigeon herpes and a US Today article popped. I think it's the same article that you just read.
Yeah.
Hold on. One pigeon herpes affects the brain and causes lack of coordination and paralysis. This disease is comparatively rare. The other inclusion, body hepatitis, primarily affects the liver. So they can get hepatitis too.
Yeah. So apparently, they said it was probably getting it because it was feeding on birds, like other birds, probably pigeons.
Oh, God.
And then the rat poison was probably because it was eating rats. So,
That's just horrible.
so it got severe pigeon herpes and probably was discombobulated by the herpes and flew it into a building. It was a Eurasian eagle owl. I didn't even know that any other animals could get herpes. But
I know. I thought we as humans were kind of like the only retards that had that.
really disgusting things.
Yeah. Thought like everyone else was just kind of like, no, we don't. No, I mean, do they got like gonorrhea too? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
This is one of those.
what?
The more you know, like yeah. Now you know.
Now you
Don't
know.
get near a pigeon. Who knows? You might get pigeon herpes.
Oh God, that's a wild story.
Yeah.
On another note, some fucking kid accidentally created a rechargeable battery that could last 400 years. How is this possible? Yeah, how do you accidentally? I accidentally just saved humanity.
Yeah.
Fucker. A team of researchers at UCI had been experimenting with nanowires for potential use in batteries, but found over time the thin, fragile wires would break down and crack after too many charging cycles. A charge cycle is when a battery goes from completely full to completely empty and full again. But one day on a whim, Thigh coded a set of, I guess I missed who this person was, but their name is Thigh. Scientist Thigh coded a set of gold nanowires in manganese dioxide and a plexiglass-like electrolyte gel. That sounds intense.
Accidentally did this? Like,
Yeah. Oops, I just coated this with gold. So, I'm not going to change. We're just going to keep going with it.
yeah.
She started to cycle these gel capacitors, and then when we got the surprise, she said, what do you call it? The thing has been cycled. Wait, they just. Oh, then we got the surprise. My apologies. So they figured out this thing had cycled 10,000 cycles and was still going. They came back a few days later, and it did 30,000 cycles. And then it kept going on for a month. So they say this is mind-blowing because the average laptop battery lasts for 300 to 500 charge cycles. The nano battery developed at UCI, at UCI, did 200,000 cycles in 3 months. So that would extend the life of the average laptop about 400 years.
Here's the thing. These people know they say they discovered this, but I can guarantee that this is known technology, and nobody that's selling a battery wants it to last that long.
No,
because
right.
If it did, then they wouldn't make any money. It's that whole.
Oh my God. It would save humanity, though.
Well, to charge my laptop a bunch of time. See, the
well,
thing
no,
is,
I mean, but if you
cycle,
that's
it's not storing it for 400 years or it's automatically making electricity. It's just
No, right.
it can cycle that many times, so it wouldn't be thrown away as quickly. But
Which would be less waste and less. I mean, there to a point. Everybody in this planet that has, a device of any sorts is responsible for the slavery in the countries that are mining this shit, and these
yeah,
people are just dying, being poisoned by everything. So
you hear that, electric car owners? You're killing
yeah,
people.
I
Thanks.
mean, laptops are killing people too.
Yeah,
We still need the lithium
but not as
ion,
quickly. Not as
right?
quickly.
But if we have this fucking battery, holy fuck! No,
Killing a lot less people.
well, I mean, like, I guess with the Tesla, yeah, how many? You have to change that battery after so many years.
Like 10
Just like,
years. 8 to 10 years is the
but
life.
it's not like the one battery in the gas car. There's like
No.
12, 14 batteries that are like 100 pounds a piece, or, they're heavy. But they're all locked up into the car. Someone's got to literally sit there and unbolt everything, drop it out, and then wheel it over again. You know what I mean? I feel like that's like over a couple $1,000s to do. But hey, I don't own an electric car, so I have no fucking clue.
The Tesla Model S has 7,104 cells. Battery cells.
Has how many?
7,104
Yeah, but that's
inside the battery.
oh, okay, right. But how
In
many of those batteries are?
16 444 cell modules capable of storing 85 kilowatt hours of energy.
Somebody asked me once if you could power a house with a fucking car. Or somebody said that that would be a good idea to be able to backfeed it somehow.
They already have that shit.
They do?
Yeah, the Ford Lightning truck has a built-in
Uh,
generator on it. You can power the house. It's stupid though.
it
People
is.
like, what do
We
you
could
do?
we could easily have hydrogen and
Yeah, hydrogen is the most abundant resource on the planet.
two, if like a leak did spring, it would be gone faster than gasoline leaks out. So like the
Yeah,
explosion factor would be low. I think people feel like it is more combustible, but yeah, if like a leak were to spring like during an accident, it most likely would just shoot out, probably take all the oxygen out of the air too around it, and not ignite.
so you'd only kill like 6 to 10 people.
Yeah, not that much.
Like the two cars that collided, those are done. Because isn't the explosion like some kind of ungodly amount of heat that it creates?
With the battery cars, yeah.
Well, yeah, that and the hydrogen.
I don't know. I actually don't know enough about hydrogen cars because I remember George Bush saying that he in a State of the Union that he wanted more money to go towards that, and then out of nowhere they stopped doing that and went back to batteries. Like they had battery powered cars like 20 years ago. People were driving them under leases, and then
Mhm.
all the companies took them back with no questions asked. Just told them one day we're taking them back.
Yeah,
And then they were all like, "But I like it. It's saving me so much money." And they're like,
yeah,
"Yeah, but that's the contract states we can take it back at any time, and we're taking them back." So
yeah.
yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
The flame
Interesting.
temperature, the flame temperature of hydrogen is 2,660 degrees Celsius.
Damn. Well, it
So
won't be painful then. We'll probably
he'll
just
just
be dead
melt.
instantly. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
melt like the meth heads in Arizona at the meth gas station in Meth
but
Town.
it needs a temperature of 650 degrees Celsius to ignite.
And I don't think a fucking spark can do that.
Yeah,
I don't think a spark's that hot. I don't know though. What do I
I need
know?
hydrogen cars.
Yeah,
Anyway.
hydrogen cars. But yeah, we'll see how that plays out. We'll see how that accident, if that ever turns into anything. But did you hear about that documentary, Quiet on Set?
I've heard of it. I didn't watch it yet, but I definitely heard it.
So I watched it. It's very, very interesting. So there was this article though that came out. But real quick, if you don't know what Quiet on Set is, anybody, it is about Nickelodeon during the years of producer Dan Schneider, when basically he was making all those shows like All That, The Amanda Show, and then he's also gone on to do like iCarly and some other ones that I forget. And I guess there was a lot of tomfoolery and people getting butt raped and stuff behind the scenes. So a lot of this is coming to light now. And well, so when you watch it, like one of the first things you see is Marc Summers from Double Dare. And they're like asking him questions like what he thinks about Nickelodeon and whatnot. And he's sitting there saying it's a great company and stuff. So like you kind of watch it and you're like, you know, you know what the documentary is about, and you're hearing this guy now like say really good things about it,
Yeah.
and it almost makes you feel like he's like suspicious somehow and whatnot. But an article did come out about him, and he was basically interviewed on a separate occasion about this, and he basically said they lied to him. They did a bait and switch.
Hmm.
So they told him, "Hey, we're doing a documentary on Nickelodeon." Didn't really give him a whole lot of detail and stuff. And when he asked, they pretty much said, we'll brief you when you get there and stuff. So he kind of gets there, and they start asking him questions, and they're like, "How do you like Nickelodeon?" And he basically said it was a wonderful company. Times were pretty crazy. Whatever he said in that documentary, and it was all
Hmm.
positive things. But then all of a sudden, they started showing him videos from like Dan Schneider's shows, and like they were all like cum shot like reference Eclipse.
Oh,
So
jeez.
like a girl's trying to open up a fucking Go-Gurt, and all of a sudden it sprays on her face, or they're messing with water bottles and squirting them in their face, or who's the singer? Oh, what's her name? Ariana Grande is like laying on a bed upside down, pouring water on her chest and shit. It's so weird. But he kind of like stops and he's like, "What the hell is going on here?" And he's just
Hmm.
kind of like this isn't. He's like, "I don't know if I signed up for this," And he's like, "I don't
Yeah.
even know who." He's like, "I know of Dan Schneider, but I've never worked with him. I've never worked on
Yeah.
any of his projects. I was there before he was. I like as I was leaving, he was coming in. He's like, yeah, I know Keenan and Kel, but like that's.
Yeah.
So he ended up leaving, and they told him like, hey, we're gonna take your clip out, and he's like, great. I don't want to really be a part of this anyways. And then they called
Yeah.
him 2 weeks later and said, oh, we're putting it back in. He's like, whatever. They're just
Yeah.
put basically the positive points you spoke on we're putting back in. So it's an interesting documentary. I recommend watching it. Um, Poor Mark Summers, man. I loved him when he was on the show Unwrapped on the Food Network. He
Hmm.
went to like every candy place in America. Like he went to the Jelly Bean factory, and they fucking made the flavor Dirty Boot, which was
Gross.
gross. But
Gross.
I guess that was a request by the fans. So,
Yeah, I
all
don't know
right.
about that. I'll have to check that out though. It sounds
Yeah.
interesting. Is it a series or is it a movie or like just a documentary, like a one part thing, or
It's
is it
a
like an
docu
ongoing?
series. It's like a
Okay,
five part docu series.
gotcha.
They go by pretty quick too. Um, they're interesting. All right. Um, yeah, let's get into the casting call here. So I showed you the other day that one. It was like called Soulmates.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't have a whole lot of detail on it, but I found this one. This is like a horror movie. It's called Trivia Night. Project description. Casting Trivia Night, a tense, real-time stage play style drama about a couple whose relationship is put to the test over 20 minutes of bar trivia. The synopsis: Alyssa has canceled a trip to Montreal with her boyfriend Patrick. After a series of failures in her photography career, when they go to the bar, the bar trivia with Patrick's friends Jesse and Jamie, they meet Ellie, a successful writer who has natural chemistry with Patrick, and serves as a foil to bring out Alyssa's insecurities. To impress her, Patrick lies, saying that Alyssa and him are still going to Montreal. As Patrick and Alyssa get pushed deeper into this lie, Alyssa taunts him. Ellie and Patrick bond over their French language, and Alyssa and Ellie clash, revealing Alyssa's insecurities. So the project's major themes are lies versus reality, guilt and insecurity, the imitating nature of the art world, creativity versus career, and the way we twist ourselves for love. And there's some other shit. It's just that I don't want to get into.
Weird.
So this is a play? I thought this was a movie. But it looks like I think it said, yeah. Oh no, a real-time stage play style drama. It could be a movie. A short film, that's what it is. So it's going to be like a...
play. So it's gonna be like how Friends was.
Yeah.
On a stage, but
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stage play.
So yeah, this Alyssa person seems like a psychopath that's gonna kill everybody.
Yeah.
Patrick is just pretty much a schmutz. And he's gonna try to bang Ellie in front of his psychotic girlfriend, who's gonna cut his nuts off. So, anybody out there, if you want to be in this short, look it up. Trivia Night. They're $400 flat rate
for 4
might
days
be worth
of
it.
work.
So $100 a day. Yeah, $100 a day. Get your foot in the door. Maybe you get your foot in the door here, and then you get into Power Rangers right after. And then after Power Rangers, you're in Hollywood.
He'll be doing Nickelodeon.
Yeah, you'll be on Nickelodeon doing cum shot references.
Yeah.
All right, Jared. Let's get into it. Movie of the week. Did you watch it?
I did.
All right. So, movie of the week, everybody's Roadhouse. So, Jared, what did you think of Roadhouse with Mr. Jake G?
Yeah, Jake G. I don't know. It's so dumb. It's okay. The one thing that was bothering me the whole time was
just Jake Gyllenhaal.
Kind of like his whole character was just so laid back, even like when he's fighting people. Like it was almost unbelievable. Which I mean, a lot of it was unbelievable, but
yeah,
like the whole oh, I'm gonna break your finger and then you can't shoot me, or like I just punched you in the throat and you're coccyx or whatever, and like you're not gonna be able to breathe. Like you're some medical doctor, like you know all this shit.
It's like the show Burn Notice, where he does the voiceover of everything he's gonna do, and then it plays out.
Exactly. But then he's telling these people how he's gonna beat them up, and then he drives them to the hospital and shit, and I don't know. That's just it was dumb. Like
Swayze wouldn't.
He got stabbed a bunch of times and was perfectly fine. Like you don't get stabbed that much and just are so nonchalant about being stabbed.
I know if I get a paper cut, there's a pain,
Hmm.
or like a cut in general. Like even though you got a band-aid on it,
Yeah.
it's not bleeding, but like there's still like bruising and a pain. It might
Yeah.
not be like severe where like, but you imagine if you get like, dude, when I got this melanoma cut out, dude, that was like, I was in pain to move my neck and stuff. I wasn't stabbed. I was they just like sliced
Yeah.
skin off me. But
Yeah.
fucking that, like, yeah, exactly. You get stabbed like 3 times, and then all of a sudden you're still back to work at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't like the bar owner lady, like her whole attitude. Like, I'm just gonna hire you and pay you $5,000 a week or a month or however much it was a day,
Yeah.
or I don't remember. But and then she's just like, well, I did just because I didn't tell you about what's going on around here doesn't mean you shouldn't stay or like stick around or like everybody in the town was just all about like, oh, you're gonna be our savior or some bullshit. You know what I mean? It was just
Yeah.
I don't know. It was played out weird. Like the whole
Well,
character.
I'm not even sure, like, who, how did he get the job there again? Did they even
Uh
say, does he just show up?
no, so he was at like an underground fight at like some barn and he was supposed to fight like Post Malone. and and so I don't know. And then the lady was there like I guess like
Oh,
scouting him.
gotcha.
She's like, "Oh, you should come work for me. I need somebody." Blah blah blah. And yeah, it was just
They literally, yeah, they took the original one and they just butchered it.
yeah,
That's all they did. I mean, you can't recreate that, dude. It's just like Swayze sitting there fucking on the at the edge of the river with the dude's throat in his hand, just screaming across the river like I'm gonna fucking
yeah,
kill you. Like, yeah, like what they did with Jake Gyllenhaal was like, I mean, they did it with Swayze, but it was like better. But like,
hmm
it was just like you were expecting everything because they stuck with the same format. Like, okay, for instance, he comes into so Swayze comes into the town and he stays at the place where he's keeping his car at.
yeah,
He stays in the loft up there. And that guy has nothing to do with the bar. That he actually works at. But then in this one with Gyllenhaal, he fucking, the bar owner has a houseboat that needs to be renovated.
yeah.
And so, yeah, you know what I mean? Like they're doing the same thing, just like making it a different smell. Or it's the same shit, just a different smell.
And then like he's walking everywhere, like
The
nobody's
bad
giving him a
guys,
ride
yeah,
or
I hated the bad guys.
yeah.
Like it
Oh
wasn't like the last one. It was like there was rift within the bad guys. In the
yeah,
last one, no, it was all the bad guy, or it all led to that one guy. There
yeah,
was like 3 different bad guys in this. It was
yeah.
like dude in prison, the fucking kid, or the son,
Son, yeah.
and then what's his face? Fucking Conor McGregor. I'm like, why the fuck is he in this?
And his character was just stupid.
This
It's
is
just like go in
retarded.
there and act like a complete idiot and like a crazy person. Like when he first
Yeah.
gets a call, he's walking around naked at some like bazaar, like Arab bazaar, trying to find clothes. Like the fuck? Like
Yeah.
was he? Like it just didn't make sense. Like his character, like I don't know, like he could be, he's like a super villain or something. I don't know. It was just
Yeah, dude,
very unbelievable.
it was stop fucking ruining 80s artwork. All
Yeah.
right? Like just stop. Just
Yeah,
stop.
I don't know. It was it was bad.
Yeah,
I
I
mean, it was
mean,
watchable. It was watchable because I
watchable.
wanted to see how bad it was, and like
Yeah.
I don't know, it was just it wasn't good, but it wasn't terrible. I guess it almost was like tried to be made into an action movie. You know,
Yeah.
when like Roadhouse was while
This
it was like
beat
an
the
action
fuck out of
movie,
people.
yeah,
No, like Roadhouse, like was, and maybe this is what a typical fucking world is nowadays. But like, I feel like Roadhouse was a typical backcountry fucking hillbilly bar. Like the
yeah,
roughest people, like in the farm community, showed up there, and like those
yeah,
people are crazy. Like
yeah.
they get fucked up, and yeah, I don't know, dude. I didn't get the vibe that I got with Swayze.
No,
You
no.
just can't recreate that. So
Gyllenhaal's like Swayze's was like calm and cool and collected. Like he does like
yeah,
yoga and shit, like out on the mountain,
yeah,
that type of thing. Like almost got that like Chinese or like a samurai type feel to it. Gyllenhaal just was his interpretations felt too lazy. Like he didn't have to try to
yeah,
be, to keep up with everything, and like, he was just naturally like a badass, but like, and he just knew it, so he didn't have to project how much of a badass he was. He was, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And then he's not that type of person where he can pretend to be that character. Like he has to prove himself, and that's just, the type of, the actor that he is.
I hated the UFC storyline.
Yeah,
What did like UFC like fund this?
yeah,
I
right.
just like okay because Swayze, his whole thing was he killed a guy, and so he was kind of running away from that. I was unsure. Did he kill the guy in the UFC ring,
I
or did
think
he just
so.
okay?
He's either killed him or like permanently gave him brain damage or something.
But like that's what I'm like. Like they showed us. You know what I mean? Like in
Yeah,
the original one, it was just a mystery. Like that
yeah,
shit worked out in the past. Like not showing any like, just talking about something. Like a good example really is Star Wars. They had no backstory on Boba Fett when he
yeah,
first came out. Like same with Yoda. To this day, there's backstory, but you don't know the origins of Yoda. There's no
yeah.
other. We for the first time we've seen Grogu, and I forget. I mean, they brought Yaddle to the equation, but let's just say we're back in the fucking '90s. Like, there's no story on Yoda. There's no story on Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And it was this mystery. So, like back in the '80s when those came out, like people loved those characters because they knew nothing about it and just was intrigued by what it could be, what they could be. And that's with Roadhouse, where Swayze apparently ripped a guy, or like, didn't he like behead a guy? But like, you never saw a clip of it or anything else. It was just like, yeah, I did this. I get
Something.
psych. I eventually get psycho if you push me over the edge, and then I just start killing people.
Yeah. I think
So
it's just wasn't it Dan Harmon that said that character development will just ruin the whole storyline? That's
yeah,
what he was worried about with Rick and Morty. It's that same idea. It's like you're trying to develop a character within the movie itself, and it's just taking too much time. Because I think even the whole like he would have dreams and flashbacks,
yeah,
and like the whole story didn't come out until like close to the very end, when you
right,
realize like that he has the full dream or is thinking back to it. It was just, I don't know, it was dumb.
yeah. No, it was. But it's like we said. I mean, it's definitely worth a watch. It's just if you're expecting a recreation of Patrick Swayze, it's not going to happen. It is its own movie, and it's just it depends on who you are. If
Yeah,
if you're open to like this kind of like recreated version, then good for you.
yeah,
Otherwise, yeah, it can't replace Swayze. You can't replace my ghost.
No.
Oh my love. But yeah, check it out. Let us know what you think. Hit up www.tellitrightpodcast.com. But I think that's our episode today. That was episode 70. Come by for 71. Jared's gonna make the Statue of Liberty disappear.
Mm-hmm. Don't beat me up for doing bad magic.
Yeah. Actually, Jared, this is going to be a surprise for you as well. Next episode, our movie of the week is going to be Alien, the 1978 movie, Jared's favorite. He's been dying to have this conversation with me. And guess what, everybody? It's finally on fucking Disney Plus Hulu. So I don't have to rent it. I have access to it. I'm going to be watching it this week. And we're going to be fucking discussing it at the end of our podcast.
And that's a good thing, because we got the Alien Romulus is coming out, which is
that's
between movies. So that'll be good for this year.
Perfect. It's everything's falling in place here. It's falling in place. But no, make sure you do check out www.tellitrightpodcast.com for content, announcements, and if you want to reach out to us, you can hit us up there. Otherwise, first-time listeners, hit that subscribe button. Long-time listeners, thank you. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. That's the life of a hoe. Peace.
Tell It Right Podcast.